everybody, this is Dr. Sarah with 901 PT and Dr. Clay.
Clay.
And we're going to go over what makes up a really good push-up, okay? So there are a few key components that'll really help you kind of really strengthen your push-up and make that a little bit better. So what he's going to do here is he's going to come up to the top here. One thing that you want to be sure that you do is generate a kind of an external moment at the shoulder. So he does that by kind of working on pulling his elbow in, right, and kind of turning the elbow pit forward. So when he does that and he goes into that little bit of that torque, it helps to turn on the rotator cuff and the back of the shoulder muscles as he drops, right? So the most of the push-up should happen from the shoulder blades. So he's going from a position of kind of a wide shoulder blade, and then the shoulder blades come together as he drops, and then as he pushes up, they come apart. Perfect. So he kind of holds on to that external rotation, goes into that shoulder blade retraction and protraction. Good.
I'm supposed to let this elbow also flare out and do this.
Right. So that's why people will cue you into kind of keeping your elbows in there to the body. Really what they're trying to get you to do is go into that little bit of that rotation that helps to improve shoulder stability in a loaded position. So try to twist those arms out a little bit as you go into that push-up. The other thing that we want to do is be sure that we keep a nice tight trunk, right? So we don't want a lot of movement in the spine, sagging here. So we're going to try to engage at the ribs and kind of squeeze the glutes there, right? So by doing that, we keep the trunk nice and taut so that as you go down, right, you don't lose a lot of efficiency in the system. A lot of times when we end up, do one where you kind of look like you're getting tired here.
Oh, I'm getting tired.
So where we'll kind of break there as we come back up. And that's because ultimately the trunk is getting a little tired and it's having a hard time kind of holding taut and keeping itself stable. So if that's happening, then you can go into a regression where you can go down onto your knees and do the same thing, right? Really trying to keep that external torque at the shoulder still, pinching the shoulder blades and pushing them apart and not letting the spine move here. If you're trying to build up to a really good push-up, let's say you can't quite do a full push-up really well without getting a lot of movement in the spine, you can work on negatives where you're slowly lowering and then drop to your knees on the way back up. So slowly lower, drop to your knees on the way back up. That way it prevents that little extension in the spine happening on the return of the push-up. Another thing, if you're having pain in the shoulder and or you're still struggling even with this regression, is changing the angle of the body. So then you can come up to a bench and then you can do the same thing, and basically changing that inclination angle is basically going to make it a little bit easier for you to achieve, and or if you're still having pain, you can even raise the surface up even a little bit more to do it onto a countertop or onto a wall, particularly if you're having shoulder pain.